Okay, so next in my series of living in Mallorca videos, I thought I'd put together some information about what it is like being self-employed working here on the island. Now, I do appreciate that it's going to be a lot easier for many of you to come to the island to work than it will be for others. But I'm going to keep this information quite general as well, just to give you an overview of costs. I do believe Spain is one of the most expensive places to work in Europe if you are self-employed. It's also one of the lowest paid as well. But you can see the obvious benefits of living and working here, and you can see I'm at the very far end of Playa Romana Beach over here in Peguera. So I'm going to pick the camera up now. We're going to take a walk through the resort. You're going to get some lovely views of Peguera, and I'm going to give you a general overview about the cost implications that we face as autónomos or freelance workers over here in Mallorca, and also what it's actually like working here too. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just point out the obvious, and to be able to work in Spain you have to be part of the European Union. You can't just come here and work. If you're British, you can't just come here and work anymore. It's not to say that you can't actually come here and work, because of course there are always options for working in the EU, but I would consider consulting an immigration lawyer before thinking of moving over here, especially if you're thinking of being self-employed. And don't forget as well, we do have now the digital nomad visa, which is one route of access to working over here in Spain. However, there are approximately 3.4 million autonomo freelance workers over here in Spain. I'm one of them. And it's not all sun, sea and sangria, obviously. And there are some pretty high cost implications of working for yourself in Spain, even before you can earn a penny for yourself. Okay, so for 2025, social security contributions have gone up. The social security contributions that everyone has to pay over here, whether you're working in a job or you're working as a self-employed person, go towards things like your pension, maternity leave, sick leave, that kind of thing, the same way as they do in your country of residence. But in Spain it's actually quite expensive. So in Spain a minimum wage here is approximately 12 to 1500 euros. If you're working in a job, that's what you can expect to get as a very minimum rate. So the costs of working for yourself I'm going to give as a kind of a broad base if you're earning 17 to 1800 euros, because of course you're going to have to pay tax on that too. Now, I've got this information from a publication called Sir in English, and I'll just drop a link to that in the description text below. To earn basically minimum wage over here, you're going to have to be paying about 350 euros per month in social security. You have to get a gestor as well to do your quarterly tax return, which costs in the region of 75-ish euros. That brings you up to 425 euros. But in order to pay that, you have to earn in the region of 530 euros, because by earning 530 euros, you also have to pay tax on that money earned. So to pay that 425 euros, you're going to have to earn about 530 approximately, because that chunk of 530 that you earn, that has to be taxed first. If you earn 530, tax that, you're going to be left with basically your social security contribution plus your essential gestor fee per month. So essentially, if you add it up, you're not going to be earning much more than around 300 euros in your first 1,000 euros earned for the month. Plus everything else that you earn after that, you're going to have to pay around 20% tax on that too. So you can see why you need to be earning an absolute minimum of around 1,800 euros a month to try and get a basic minimum wage here in Spain if you are self-employed. Okay, so enough with the facts and figures. Let's keep walking along the beach, and I'm going to give you some more information about what it's like working for yourself over here in Spain. Now, once again, I'm just showing you the big advantages of living and working over here in Spain. One thing you can say for sure is that you're going to save yourself a fortune in beach holidays by living out here. I mean, just check out how gorgeous it is here today. But anyway, back to the reality of living here. Now, checks have been made on freelancers as to whether they've been paying enough social security over the years, and if not, well, they are going to face a bill. So this increase in rates is more fixed around what your actual earnings are, what your actual income has been, because of course the cost of being out of work and for pensions is also increasing too. But let's not forget that there is a huge black market economy over here in Spain, and the amount of people that live under the radar and out of the system too, it means that those of us that do try and go down the route of paying for social security, it also means that we are being hit harder too. I mean, let me know what it's like in your country. Are you working for yourself in your country and you're not paying as much in social security? Because it does seem quite steep that you have to earn about 500 euros before you can actually start making any money for yourself. So let me know in comments kind of what the rate is, whereabouts you are living in the world, and if you're facing the same kind of high fees that we are in Spain, or I'm just making this video just to complain about it too. So let me know in the comments. Okay, so working autonomo here in Spain means that you have to be not only your own boss, you need to be your own tax advisor and debt collector. Yes, that means that sometimes you do not get paid. Now, this is often the case if you're just starting out working for yourself in Spain. Companies can tend to take advantage of newbies, and my advice is if you do any work, as indeed you would do probably anywhere in the world, and you're not so naive, is to always get some kind of written contract, get something in writing and get it signed. Which actually brings me onto the issue of invoicing. Now, you have to make sure you also do that properly as well, because there is a withholding tax that you have to apply to your invoices. So once again, it's all about being your own accountant too. But also, and this is really important, that when you do issue an invoice, you have to declare that on your tax. So if you don't get paid, you're still paying the tax on that invoice, and the hacienda, the tax authority or the hacienda don't care whether you've been paid or not, just that you've done the work and you've billed for it. So if you do not get paid, you still have to pay the tax. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. It's a crazy system. Now, the hacienda will make checks on freelancers sporadically as well, and that's the stressful bit, making sure that you've declared all your tax as you should do. So just be warned. So it's pretty hard talking about working for yourself, and I'm just looking out on Playa Palmera beach here and just look at the beautiful turquoise waters. But it's not all bad working for yourself here in Spain, because there are lots of advantages of working over here in Spain. Now, the first is obvious. You're your own boss, so you dictate your timetable, you decide the hours that you work. If you want to go to the beach in the day, you can do. If you want to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning working, you can do as well. But the downside is that it's very easy not to take time off too, which I'm very guilty of. You have to be very disciplined to make sure you give yourself some days off, otherwise you can just end up working all the time, which invariably most people do if they are self-employed. It's also a lot simpler here to be self-employed than it is to set up a company, because if you do set up a company, then you're going to be subject to even more taxes. I don't know what they are, but it looks even more horrendous. So it is definitely the easier option, and it's very easy to get up and running quite quickly. If you're a first-time autonomo, you get access to the cheaper rates of around, I think for 2025 it's about 80 euros a month for the first year or two, and then it does sneak its way up. The government also have some packages as well if you're eligible to get something called I think it's called the Kit Digital, where you can get a grant to build a website and get some digital help as well. So that's pretty good. The government also provide courses to help you get up and running. So once again, all of that's in place to try and get you on board and to get you paying those social security contributions in the future. And also to just kind of like help you as well to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to be a success. It does sometimes feel, though, on the other hand, that Spain isn't really set up for entrepreneurialism. Is that a word? Again, you've got some good sides and bad sides there too. The biggest advantage, I think, is that being autonomo does give you access to the really excellent free public healthcare that you get over here if you do pay into the system. The healthcare here is excellent, and particularly over here in Mallorca as well. We've got some huge public hospitals, and the waiting times are just nothing like you'd experience experience over in the United Kingdom, for example, just going off previous experience. So once again, that is a really good advantage of living here. Another downside is that with lots of people living on the island, probably doing the same thing as well, you've got lots of autonomos doing pretty much the same kind of thing, whether you're in building or construction, or you're an estate agent, or you're doing social media or marketing. There are lots of people doing the same thing here. So competition is absolutely rife, and you're going to find people fighting tooth and nail for a job as well. So I always think that it's a little bit harder if you're self-employed to make sure you remain upskilled, because you see a lot of freelancers here doing the same thing year after year, and they just don't have the skills to do it either, and they haven't improved their career, they haven't upskilled enough. Whereas if you are in the full-time job, you're more likely to get access to training programs as well, and you can get trained in a job a little bit more and stay on top of trends and what's going on in the world than if you are working as a self-employed person. So as well as making sure that you manage your time off, you also need to manage your career development too. So finally, will I stay working as self-employed, or will I go back to working with a company? Well, I have to say my experience has been entirely positive, because apart from the horrible amounts of money that I have to earn every single month before I earn a penny, I have managed to create the life that I've really wanted to, and I am living the dream. The absolute beauty of freelance, particularly when you've got a family living overseas, is that you can go and see them when you want to, and you can just basically have the freedom to do what you want to and make a living. And if you want to be outside and you want to make a video standing on this beautiful beach over in Pagera, you can do as well. So I think I'm going to stick at what I'm doing for the time being. I enjoy having multiple streams of income. If one fails, there's always something else to fall back onto, so that's something else as well. Okay everyone, I hope you found this video useful. I will be making the occasional video about living over here in Mallorca. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing if you are thinking of either living out here or coming here on holiday, because of course I've got loads of videos all about visiting the island, things to do and see, travel guides, holiday tips, holiday news and more. So check out my content. And don't forget too, you can also find me on the Facebook group and on my Instagram, also called Mallorca Under the Sun. And I'll drop a couple of links both here and here on YouTube for content that you may well find interesting too. Okay everyone, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Goodbye for now.